And it was really that community that was as special as the amazing cannabis we produced. And we all became very, 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 very close. And it was an amazing place to grow up as a kid. And after Ronald Reagan really declared the war on drugs in I think it was 1985, enforcement got bad. I mean, there was 4 or 5 helicopters in the air during harvest season, and they were all over the county, and people were getting their crops were getting taken, but they weren't really going to jail. And it was after a little bit of that kind of stress that my mom and my stepdad decided that they really wanted to follow their lifelong dream, and they bought a commercial albacore boat, and they decided to leave me back at the farm, and they sailed around the world fishing for albacore for tuna, and we're gone 11 months out of the year, and I stayed home with my best friend as my neighbor, and just really fell in love with growing the plant and really looking for ways to um, beat the methods that the enforcement teams really were trying to get our cannabis with. And so, long story short, sorry I'm rambling on. When I was 24 years old, my best friend and we were growing this crop underneath the bushes. Enforcement was so bad that we had to grow underneath a canopy where the plants would only get like 1 or 2 feet tall. And so we
Yeah.
would only get like an ounce of plant. So nowadays, when you're growing out in the open in the legal market, you can get like 5 or 10, but the plants can get as big as you want. So sometimes you get 10 pounds of plant or 5 pounds of plant. Back then we were trying to get an ounce of plant, but given the price per pound was 5,000 a pound. So if you could grow as a 20-year-old kid 20 pounds and make 100 grand, it was an amazing way to live your life and not having to spend very much money. Surfing and fishing and running around in the woods was fairly cheap, really. It didn't take a lot of money to just make it to the next year. And that was our goal, right? To make enough money as a family unit to take care of your roads, to grow a vegetable garden, and to get to the next year and to participate and be part of an amazing community. And unfortunately, during that time, this old man down our road ended up turning us in, and to enforcement, and they started an investigation. And one morning, I heard something rumbling up the road, and about 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I was drinking my cup of coffee, something I do every morning, a tradition, and I walked out of my sliding glass door into my driveway, and around the corner came a guy in camouflage with a 9mm pistol that yelling, put your hands up, get up against the wall. And, so I dropped my coffee cup, did what he said. I was pretty calm, actually. And long story short, he took me in the house, and behind him, there was 30 federal agents that were serving a search warrant on my place. And so really from that point forward, my life was never the same. And they were at my house for about 8 hours. They took, they were taking things like seeds and notations that we'd have. And we didn't ever kept any pictures at the house because that was a no-no. And we never wanted to leave any kind of evidence around. And so they took whatever they did. And then at the end of the day, they left me with a little yellow speeding ticket and said, well, if we want to contact you, we'll get a hold of you. And it was about a year and a half after that they showed back up with an arrest warrant. And then from that point forward, I was going back and forth down to San Francisco Federal Courthouse building, really trying to explain to a judge who I was as a person, because I said, hey, look, I'm guilty for growing the cannabis. But because it was a federal situation, we were pretty naive of the laws. Everybody we knew in Humboldt County grew weed. We thought your first time offense was just probation. So it was always worth the risk to grow and maybe make 20 or 30 pounds and be able to live to the next year. But the federal laws were different, and mandatory minimums were pretty severe, even for a first time offender like myself and my good friend. We were looking at 10 years to life in prison for growing these plants. And it was in disbelief that this was actually the reality of the situation that now I found myself in, because I'm just kind of a person that would never hurt anybody, always looks out for people. And, sometimes people with even that get caught for, drunk driving and run somebody over and kill them get less time than that. So I thought, and I explained to my judge or my attorney that, like, I want to explain to the judge who I am as a person. I want him to actually know who I am, know that I would never hurt anybody. And I just thought that maybe he wouldn't be able to give me, the minimum sentence. And unfortunately, I was wrong. And after 3 years of going to court, he stood up and he said, I want nothing more to give you less time, but because I'm bound by the laws to uphold the laws, I have to give you the lower end of this mandatory minimum. Gave us 10 years in prison, which is 120 months. And I did in federal prison, you have to do 85% of your time, unlike state where you can get off really early. So me and my best friend, we did 8 years, 6 years in Lompoc, and I got transferred and did a drug program over at Nellis Air Force Base in Vegas, and got 6 months off of my sentence. And so it was about 8 years I did in prison, and then had 5 years probation. So this whole going to court, getting busted, going to jail, and then having probation was really 17 years out of my life. And now I'm really proud to say that I'm a permitted farm in Humboldt County and with the state of California. So it's been an amazing journey, and now I get to share our product with the world, and I get to share, my mom's legacy and everything that she taught me how to do with people, and they're really resonating with our story, and that we don't care so much about making money, and we just want people to feel good. And it's really hard a lot of times for people to really believe that there's people out there that care about one another. I think as a culture, I think the human race has gotten away from just caring about one another just to care. And I just kind of refuse to live like it's about money and how can I make money and how can I sell my product before Soul Spirit. We all work together to uplift each other, because what makes me feel good might not make you feel good. So the Whitethorn Rose might make some people feel amazing, but Soul Spirit over there grows a strain called the Element that won the third-party certified sun-grown flower last year, and it might make you feel amazing if Whitethorn Rose doesn't. So it's about really uplifting each other and finding what makes that consumer feel amazing. Sorry, that was long. That was a long thing.
No, no.